Hello, everybody. Just before the episode starts, I just want to say sorry for not uploading for the last 2 weeks. I've been sick and I've been on vacation. I'm still currently on vacation, but I just really wanted to make sure that I uploaded something for this week. Um, I'll get you guys an episode this week and next week. I'll make sure of it. Thank you guys for sticking with me, and thank you guys for watching the podcast. Let's just get started with the episode. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Password's Journal. I'm Password, your host, as always, and today we have a creative guest, one who runs a up and coming fashion studio, and one that I'm personally a big fan of. Please welcome Dangani. How you doing today, man?
Hey, Password. I'm good. I'm good. I appreciate the kind words, dude.
Yeah, of course, man. I've really been wanting to buy some of your clothing for a while, and I'm about to buy two things. Speaking of, but yeah, let's just get started with the episode right away. My first question for you is, what really inspired you to make your own fashion studio? Because there's obviously a lot recently. What makes yours? What inspired you, and what makes yours different from all these other ones?
So the thing that makes mine different is that it's based around mascots that I design. So think of characters that um, various artists have made, like Takashi Murakami, or even like the Sanrio Hello Kitty brand. They have their own unique mascots, but I want to kind of make it a little bit cooler, a little bit edgier. Um, so that's what makes it stand out. In terms of what inspired me to start my own brand, I've always been like creating stuff as an artist. I had a YouTube channel. I still have a YouTube channel. And then just somehow I transitioned into making apparel because I wanted to do something that would be more sustainable as a creator. And I just found that to be a really uh, creatively fulfilling, but also more sustainable route than other things like YouTube.
Yeah, I mean that's interesting. Like, so originally a YouTuber is what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
What kind of videos did you used to record?
Um, Man, I've been everywhere, but like my real like YouTube uh thing was, like YouTubers like the Odd Ones Out or Jaden Animations.
Yeah, like animation YouTubers, like story
Yeah,
time YouTubers.
yeah. So I was really inspired by them, which made me start my own kind of like animation quote unquote channel. I mean, I don't think it's like real animation. The ones I was doing, at least, it was like more like storyboard animation. But yeah, I did that. And then I transitioned more into like gaming content. So it was still like animated topical essays, like video essays, but more so about video games. So I've had some videos that did really well, and they're still up. It's just called Dangani, so just my brand without the
Hmm.
studios part. Um, and yeah, I've done videos that were like Among Us videos that got, I think, like 100,000 views. I did like a Overwatch video. Um, yeah, and I still upload occasionally on it, but it's more so just a passion project at this point.
Yeah. So speaking of, like your storyboarding and animation, you have several characters as a part of Dangani Studios. What's the backstory on Bear Boy? I know you've posted this before, but my
Hmm.
audience might not be 100% familiar. What's the
Yeah.
backstory to Bear Boy exactly?
So Bear Boy is the main mascot to Dangani Studios. Bear Boy's kind of backstory, I feel like I'm always rewriting it or changing it. Um, but like the whole idea of Bear Boy, like his character design with the halo over it and the bandaged arm is supposed to be um, representing like perseverance, going through hard times and still pushing through. And it's just, something that I made at a moment where I kind of needed something like that. Um, so I mean, in terms of backstory, I'm still figuring it out. Like, it's just it was just really a character made to inspire. I thought he looked cool, and that's kind of what I've been doing with the other mascots. Like, Axolotl, Doku Girl. Like each of them have like their own like inspiration. Like Axolotl, for example, she's really just made to be like a sidekick to Bear Boy, and like in a way, like the total opposite of that character, because Bear Boy's character design is kind of very almost monotone in a way.
Hmm.
And then Axolotl was supposed to be like the super energetic character. Doku Girl is just like heavily inspired off of like anime and um, that. I mean, that's it pretty much.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, speaking of animes, what anime specifically inspired Doku Girl, or is it just a bunch of different animes in general commuted into one?
Um, that's a good question. Honestly, dang man, I'm trying to think back like when I made Doku Girl. You know, when you order something, I have to give you a magazine because it has like a bunch of like old artworks from the brand um, that I don't like have up on the page or anything. But in terms of inspiration for Doku Girl, I mean, she was just really kind of like more. It wasn't any anime specific. She was just a more general. I guess maybe like Sailor Moon a little bit, but I've never watched Sailor Moon, and honestly, that's not even like a character that Doku Girl's like.
Mhm.
I guess I don't know. She's kind of just her own character, just generally inspired off of like Japanese culture and anime.
Yeah, fair enough. So still speaking of your characters, scrolling through your TikTok, which is where you seem to mainly post, um, I've seen a few comments calling Bear Boy and your company like a furry company or like a furry character. What do you
Mm-hmm.
think of like and even like furries themselves like being like, oh yeah, it's like our company. What do you think about being like adopted by that community and being thrown in with that community?
It's kind of funny um, because I don't think of my mascots as furries like at all. Even like I've seen like I don't even know how I got wrapped into the whole thing, but I've just kind of been riding the wave of it. And also, I want to call out the furry community because they said they were gonna buy some stuff. I, to my knowledge, and all the recent purchases are not from furries. So I got some beef with the furries right now, but I appreciate like it's not my thing, but I can respect people who just like making cool characters, whether they be furry or not furry or whatever. Um, I don't know. It's just like it's like trying to beat the furry allegations. Um, no, it's cool though. I don't got a problem with it. I'm just kind of riding the wave.
Yeah, and speaking of running the wave, like for me, you've been like the amount of TikTok videos that you've been consistently posting has been really inspirational. How do you like get up every night, every day in the morning, and being like, I have to post a TikTok today, and then tomorrow, and then like very consistently? And how has that helped your brand grow?
That's a good question. Um, Posting short. I mean, see, the thing is, like, as I was saying, I did YouTube like way back when, and I still occasionally do it, but I've been creating content for like over a decade, so I've seen how the landscape evolves, and it's all everything nowadays is so shorts focused, which is why I'm really like happy like people that there are people like you who are doing podcasts with other creators and stuff like that. It's really cool to see what you're doing.
Thank you, I appreciate
Um,
that.
yeah, for sure. But dude, like the shorts game, it's just kind of oversaturated. I think more so than anything, it's just getting over the fear of posting. Because I have like friends and a lot of people I know that don't post anything, or they're too scared to, or they're they're worried about the backlash. And a good like piece of advice I heard recently is like I don't remember where it was from, but it was like someone said, don't be worried about like your family or friends seeing your posts and kind of thinking it's cringe or something, because at the end of the day, they're not your target demographic. Um, and the people who are will find you through that stuff. So I just try to remember that. posting on TikTok is pretty easy to do with the tools you can use, and it's just a matter of keeping consistent with it, because I never know what TikTok is gonna pop off or um, get a sale. So I just do my best.
Yeah, and actually, that's a perfect segue. Speaking of sales and TikTok, how many sales have you gone, or do you think you've gotten from the TikToks that you've been posting? Because I've seen different videos go from like 10K to 1K to like 600 to another 10K views. So how has that literally
It's
helped your brand grow?
yeah, it's so weird because like some some TikToks like that, the whole going back to the whole furry thing, like that post got like 10,000 views, but I don't think I got any sales off of that one post. But then I post something that gets like 300-400 views, and then I get a sale that day, or that purchase. So it is really like it's so hard to predict it, and like with my the way I'm running my brand right now, I'm doing everything organically. I'm not running any paid advertising, which I would like to do eventually, but with a limited budget like mine, it's just more so leaving it up to organic content. Like even I've been doing like streaming on TikTok, which has its ups and downs. But literally right before this, I just got a sale from some dude I've never seen before in my chat, and he was like, "Yeah, I just bought something," and he just bought two items from the shop. So TikTok is clutch. I hope it doesn't get banned because I just have not gotten the same traction on Instagram, and I don't know why. Um, I don't know if it has something to do with like the audience on
Mm.
TikTok versus the audience on Instagram, or if I'm just is it because I'm re-uploading my TikToks to
No,
Instagram?
from personal knowledge and from like people that have been on the podcast who have asked
Mm-hmm.
about the difference between TikTok and Instagram. They've always like everyone that posts on both sides always says it's always hard to gain traction on Instagram because the shorts aren't as the the for you page isn't as randomized. Almost always bigger stuff or more famous stuff with more likes usually,
Mm.
and it's a lot harder to break through, which is why a lot of people refrain from even posting on Instagram Reels instead of TikTok in general, because TikTok gives, I would say, most people an equal chance to grow. Like your studio, for example, I've
Mm-hmm.
seen very good growth, and the fact that you've gotten a good amount of sales from it has been amazing. And if you would only post on TikTok, I mean, only post on Instagram, it would be much less because the growth, like to break through that glass ceiling, is a lot harder.
Okay, it's good to hear I'm not the only one. Um, yeah, it is interesting. It is interesting. Yeah, I'm just curious,
Yeah,
like why. I mean, you explained it pretty well.
yeah,
Hmm.
that's why a lot of people like to grow their fame first on TikTok and then move to Instagram once they
Hmm.
are able to gain a good amount of traction, and then they would get less views on TikTok, but it would still be some views.
Yeah, and like TikTok's like my main platform right now for posting content for my
Hmm.
brand. Um, but I'd still just
Understandably
do
so.
Instagram because Instagram is like it's still an entire audience there, and
Yeah.
I actually separate it. I have a main Instagram which is just really to look pretty. It's kind of like the Dangani Studios official Instagram, so I just kind of post like the current apparel route, maybe some artworks. But I've been limiting the quote unquote basically the TikTok re-uploads to a different account, which is just Dangani with a bunch of eyes. Um, and that's where I'm just re-uploading my TikToks. And even if like a TikTok or a re-upload gets like 50 views, it's still something, and I just don't want to dismiss it just because it's like, oh, that's embarrassing, 50 views. It's like, it's a spam account. I really don't care if a post pops off. That's cool. If not, then it is what it is. It's kind of my
I mean,
mindset right now.
personally, how I see it, that's 50 different eyes than you would get on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Or if it's someone that is on TikTok that's also seen you on Instagram, they're like, oh, let's see this brand again. And then that creates like pattern recognition. And then they'll like me because I've seen your posts both on TikTok and Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, this is like an interesting brand. I'm going to follow it. And then I've seen the little growth that you've had from since I've been following. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to buy something from here. Personally, that's how my thought process went.
Huh. That's cool. Okay, that's cool to see.
Yeah.
Cool to hear that you saw it both on Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah, that's not to say that obviously it's not a little harder, but it's not impossible. It's very doable. It's just very much so with luck. It very much has to do with luck.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, going back to questions. I have a question about just the studio entirely, just in the whole thing in general. Do you have your own team, and if so, how do they get compensated? Do they get paid, or is it all like everyone gets the same amount of money?
Uh, so I have a team, quote unquote. I mean, really, it's just me. Like in terms of like employees, I'm the only one, but I have a lot of partners I work with. Um, and they're all cool dudes. Like, for example, I have a photographer, Isaiah, which you can find on Instagram at Ya W or no, it's YA underscore XBI. He does top notch photography. I know him personally, mutually, and in terms of compensation, I just pay him for each photo shoot. Um, and the thing with him is he likes doing it for free, and I'm like, dude, let me pay you. Let me pay you for your work. Um, so I have there's him. There's one of my friends, Scuffed is his online name, and he's just like um someone I always consult with for like what should I do in terms of brand direction, designs, and he gets paid in free merch.
Fair
um,
enough.
no, I just mess like he's one of my longtime friends. Um,
Hmm.
and then there's like other models and photographers that I reach out for. It's just freelancing work, so it's not like maybe one day I could have I can have like actual part time or maybe even full time employees, but I think it's a long way away from that. And who knows how that's going to be because the landscape in like 5 years in terms of just the job industry might be so different. I have no clue. Um, and then there's also like artists I work with where they like the Dangani Squad Tea and the Dangani Cash Tea, Bear Boy Cash Tea. Those are both designed by different artists, so they get
Mm.
paid from the shirts directly. They get paid off of each sale.
Oh, interesting. So you have different people that like design certain shirts. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, interesting. Um, I've had our cousins also tried to have like a fashion company and or a
Mm-hmm.
fashion and he tried to design everything himself. So what are the trials and tribulations I would say of like not only designing but then also selling and then getting your brand name out there?
Um. Hmm. It's a long grind. It's a long grind. Because my brand used to be called Anti-Hero before I renamed it. Terrible name, by the way. I just got to say, there's already a brand named Anti-Hero, which is like a skatewear brand, so it really clashed. But yeah, I mean, you just have to keep on keeping on. I hate to say it's such generic and lame advice, but it's really just like the truth, at least in terms of what I learned. Because if I were to like think back to my brand 2 years ago, or like when it first started, it's I would cringe. It's so much worse, and I've only learned how much I've only learned all this stuff through experience in terms of designs, in terms of how to go about product releases, in terms of um, doing promotional like all that stuff. I think you just learn it as you go. Especially with designs, I think you really learn like your audience because you grow with your audience. Like it, yeah, sure. At the end of the day, like my brand, yeah, it's a one man team, quote unquote, but it's really not because I'm consulting with my audience with everything I do. Um, I read every comment. You know, I might scale up the brand, and this is the thing. Like, I think a lot of people are afraid to respond to comments, or even like on TikTok. You know, you can just delete comments, but I try not to, because even if it's like a hate comment, first of all, as a brand, you could use that to your advantage. And at the end of the day, like, this is people's feedback, whether it be positive, negative. It's a community that you're learning from, and where to you can learn how to kind of go where to go with your brand.
Mm-hmm. I mean, me personally, so far at least, I've only seen like one hate, like really hate comment, and it was like someone calling all your stuff like 100% polyester.
Oh
When
yeah, I
like
thank you for
if you
replying
just
to that, by the way.
yeah, of course, yeah, I just like I was like it literally says on every piece of clothing that it's not 100% polyester. And like I went to the jackets and then like the shirts, and they all said 100% cotton. Which, first of all, like that's really great. That because a lot of brands just don't bother with the quality like that. And second of all, it's like why would you just like lie about that on a comment section just to put someone down? And that's why I don't take all hate comments seriously, because it's almost always just someone that just likes to put people down to help themselves, and it doesn't really do that.
Hmm.
So um, as I've told another one of my guests on the previous episode, it's just usually just people that are like in their mom's basement and like they have nothing better to do other than hate on others. So I'd always take hate with a grain of salt and criticism, and I'd always accept criticism because criticism is just I would say just as important as praise.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. Yeah. Um, you know, that comment with the 100% polyester, stuff like that, it is funny. It, like, I get a laugh out of a lot of those comments. Um, because yeah, there are
Mhm.
situations where people will just say stuff. The only guess why he said that is he might have been referring to my jersey, which is polyester, um, because it's a jersey. It's a jerseys
Yeah,
are
most
usually
jerseys are
polyesters.
polyester. Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, in terms of like everything else, it's all cotton. Like the hoodies I release, all t-shirts, I do 100% cotton, because I just I think that's just better quality, and that's something I care about. Like, I care about the quality of the apparel. I think as a brand owner, you should inherently care about the quality of the products, not just from the design, but also the material. And that's the cool thing about being a brand, like a apparel brand owner, a fashion designer, quote unquote, is because is there's so many cool like things you can learn. You can learn, yeah, just how they get better at graphic design, but you can learn about the different types of um, ways to design something in terms of how they would the design getting on the shirt. Like, there's direct to garment, there's embroidery, there's stitch and sew designs you can do. There's so
Yeah.
much you can do with that. So yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of, um, how have you seen your personal fashion sense change since starting a clothing company?
Um. Hmm. I I try to. It's weird because, like, a lot of the designs I make, I look back at them like a year later and I'm like, oh, why would I design that? But it really depends. I think, like, with apparel and fashion, it's really an emotional thing. So one moment I would want to wear like the Dangani jersey, and like another moment I would want to wear something completely different. Um, so it's really just like cultivating like a mood or a feeling. Um, it's hard to put into words, to be honest, but um, I'm always trying to learn from past designs. I think as an artist, you're always learning and growing from that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, even like looking at my shop now, it's just like I can't wait to design the next thing, because as soon as I release something and it's public and I get some sales, I'm like, okay, I'm like, I love this design, but I'm over. I want to make something else. And that's not me saying I want to rush out designs, because I do take time with them. Um, but I don't know. It's That's a good question. I wish I had like a good way to put it into words. Um, but I think I'm just always trying to figure it out, trying to make something cool, explore different styles. So like a lot of these styles that I do now are just like super like streetwear trendy, um,
Hmm.
and maybe some more graphic designs. But I also want to look into more like more simple designs, more elegant designs, quote unquote. But yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of like just designs in general, and you've mentioned this earlier, the fashion world in general could change so much in such little time.
Hmm.
Where do you personally see your company within the next 5 years?
Oh man, 5 years is so far away, bro. It's not even that far away for real. Um, because I mean, I would say like a couple years ago, like I would have like a 10 year plan, or at least like a 5 year plan. Um, but my brand right now, I try not to worry that much into the future. Um, Not because I
Hmm.
don't want to plan that far in the future. It's just hmm. I mean, in terms of where I see it, hopefully I have a ton of cool apparel and a cool selection of stuff, and it's kind of just fully self sustainable. Which I mean, it is. It doesn't cost a lot to like maintain a brand, but in terms of doing new designs, um, that's where it can get costly, if especially if you're doing like premium things. But I think I just want to continue the path I'm doing now, which is just doing these limited drops. So they're limited releases, maybe 10 to 30 of the unit you can buy. Once those sell out, they're gone forever. Hopefully, I can scale that. Um, but I mean, I just hope I have a ton more designs. That's really all I can hope for.
Yeah, fair enough. And like, staying on the same train, what do you envision the end goal of Dangani to be? The studio itself. What do you think would be where you'd be like, this is exactly what I wanted. This is if the brand ended here, I'd be happy.
I would love like I feel like I have so much potential with the mascots and what I want to do with them. There's so much I want to do with them because I mean, yeah, it's a clothing brand, but really I think of like Dangani Studios as like a creative studio. So I want to make like if I can
Mm.
I imagine like a movie if I can do like a Pixar style or Illumination style, blockbuster movie with the Dangani characters. And this is just me like just totally dreaming, but I'd love to make something big. Um, right now it's pretty grassroots, pretty small scale. I have like a little 2 episode animated series on the Dangani Studios YouTube channel that kind of goes into the lore of the characters and like a series I'm writing. But if I could do more of the characters, like make a show, make um, more stuff just based around the characters, like little plushy keychains and stuff like that, and just more like media. Like I want to do more digital media. Like I love making art and I love animation, but they're very time consuming. So I hope I can maybe get funding for like even like making a game would be so cool.
I mean, that's really impressive. I've interviewed a guest before who's also in the process of making a game,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to pick and prod between that and listening and learning about the process. It's a time consuming process, and it's not easy, and it's very hard to stick to. And even as having a fashion design company in general is hard to stick to. So how do you think you'll be able to achieve that in the future?
Uh, it would definitely have to be through crowdfunding. I think the most realistic thing I would be able to achieve, especially with the growth of like technology and how more streamlined stuff like making a game will become. I think if I could crowdfund like a Kickstart or something, an indie game, that would be the most logical and reasonable route I can do. And there's a lot of cool like indie games I get inspiration off of. Just going back to like 3D platformers. like Super Mario 64, A Hat in Time, or even like a lot of these new games that I'm playing, like Bomb Rush Cyberpunk is a really cool stylistic game. I would love to incorporate those
Hmm.
elements and make an indie game like that, but just with my mascots. I there's a lot of ways I can take it. I thought about like doing a karting game, like a racing game, like a Mario Kart, but with the mascots. I
Hmm.
hope it's
Interesting.
more feasible in the future. It's just I'd love to do it, but like you said, it's something that's very time consuming.
Yeah, and just got a few more questions before I let you go. Uh, and like my question to you is, how do you even come up with the idea for Dangani, like in the first place, from the building it from the ground up? How did you come up with that?
Um, so yeah, Dangani was really just like my YouTube channel, and that was created because I was inspired off of like other creators. That's really what it was. Like I don't think anything is truly original. Um, I think there's a good book that's kind of like a little overrated at this point called Steal Like an Artist, which is just um, it's a short picture book basically. I mean, the idea is like you really just remix ideas that you've been inspired off of. And that's kind of how my brand came to be. It's changed so much, and I think that's the cool thing with apparel is that my brand can look like this today, but in 6 months from now, it can have a totally different vibe and aesthetic and feel to it that will cultivate a wholly new audience. Um, yeah.
Mhm. I mean, already, you could already tell that the brands evolved from even like the first merch drop. You could see how different the style is, like the jersey and the shorts,
Hmm.
to the knitted ones, to the squad shirt. Like you could tell that there's obviously been a style change. So is that what you
Thanks.
really plan to do in the end?
I'm glad you see it. But what was that you said?
Is that like what you plan to do with your clothes? Just like have style changes within each drop?
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to do it too much because I don't want to alienate my audience either. That's like a big worry of mine. Um, and especially because I like streetwear, so I think I'm gonna be pretty much like mostly streetwear, but I'd still love to do like other stuff. I don't want to limit it. Um is basically like really what I'm just trying to make sure I don't do. I want to
Yeah.
keep the doors open essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I understand, like, especially the worry of alienating an audience because of you don't want to stray too far from something. And that's exactly why I created this podcast because instead of, just interviewing one certain type of creator, I've
Mm-hmm.
interviewed wrestlers, I've interviewed artists, I've interviewed people that are in a studio, and now I'm interviewing like a clothing designer.
Mm-hmm.
And personally, I think that, like, yes, having an audience that's consistent is great, but having a melting pot of different audiences is, for me, just as rewarding as having the same audience. Even if the melting pot gives me less traction, me personally, I prefer having multiple different groups of people that are interested in one thing.
That's a great way to put it. And I noticed that immediately when I checked out your channel. I'm like, because I thought you were gonna mainly be like interviewing clothing brand owners or something in this space, but I saw like you said like a wrestler. I'm like, okay, this guy's doing something different, which is really unique, and that's what honestly
Thank
like
you.
leads to success. Like there's podcasters out there like I mean my boy Theo Vaughn. I watch him every now and then, But I think what he does good at is he interviews a wider range of people from all over the place in terms of viewpoints and worldviews and all that. Um, and I think you're doing really kind of that, but in the creative space, which is really cool. And I think it does have potential, and I think you really just have to keep sticking to it because um, you never know what podcast is going to be the one that's going to pop it off, and then all the other ones will grow from that as well.
Yeah, thank you for the kind words, man. I really appreciate it. But yeah, obviously, if you could tell a little bit that Theo Bond's been an inspiration of mine. There's multiple other podcasts that's also been huge inspirations. But yeah, and honestly, I just have one more question for you before end the episode. Um, my last question to you is, if you could make one, let's say, now unrealistic thing to happen for your studio, what would you choose it to be?
Unrealistic thing to happen. I don't know. I mean, what do you consider unrealistic? Because I don't want to be egotistical and be like, well, I can achieve anything, you know. But I really think like the only way I can, the only reason I would think something is unrealistic is if I don't think I can achieve it. If I really want to and put enough dedication in, I can really get there. Um, but I mean, I think unrealistic goal would be like, I mean, at least now where I'm at for sure, getting like a movie, like a big budget movie that's actually going to be in theaters. Like you have you seen like the Snoopy movies, the 3D animation style
Yes,
for
yes, I
those?
have. Yeah, yeah.
I'm thinking like exactly that kind of animation style, or even like the Illumination Mario movie. I love how those look visually. So that's like a super far out there dream, but hopefully I can get some form of that attainable.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mean to be like unrealistic as in like, oh, it's impossible. I just meant
Yeah, no, you're
like a
good.
more out there dream. Yeah, like a more
Hmm.
out there, like for the future kind of dream.
I want $1 billion, bro. I
Man, honestly, I just gotta thank you a lot for joining me in this episode. It's been great talking to you. Um, and appreciate you a lot for coming in on this episode and giving up some of your time and letting us pick and prod through your brain. And if you want to shout out anyone, you have the floor. If you want to say anything, you have the floor. Go ahead.
All right. First of all, thank you, Password. I appreciate it. Shout out, Dangani Studios. Got a self promo. Check out the brand if you want to just look at some cool apparel. You don't gotta buy anything, but you should just look at it. Shout out to Super Broski's podcast. It's me and my boy Scuffed. We have a podcast, and it is exactly that. It's a podcast. It's not as good as this one. I can assure you that. But that's
Yeah,
basically
thank
all
you.
I got. Uh huh.
Yeah, man. Again, thank you so much for coming on here, and thank you all for watching the episode. Hope to see you guys again. See you in the same time next week.